want to show you a new look here outside the Supreme Court. Overnight, it got fenced in. Workers putting up what they say are non-scalable fencing. This as protesters, of course, have been gathering since the leak of that draft decision written by Justice Samuel Alito broke this week that suggested the High Court would turn Roe v. Wade over, putting the issue of abortion back to states to decide. Well, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff tweeting this, quote, "I don't care how the draft leaked. That's a sideshow," adding, "What I care about is that a small number of conservative justices who lied about their plans to the Senate intend to deprive millions of women of reproductive care. Codifying Roe isn't enough. We must expand the court." Joining us to discuss the leaked draft and the left's reaction is constitutional law attorney, Newsmax contributor Jenna Ellis, who's also a former senior advisor and counsel to President Trump. Jenna, great to have you with us today. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
Okay, so Adam Schiff doesn't care about the leak, the unprecedented leak of a draft. It's led to violent protests, one in LA, police officer hurt. There's a fence around the court now, but let's talk about court packing. That's about right from the left, huh?
Yeah, that's of course what the left wants, is that they don't care about the rules. They don't care about the Constitution. They only care about their preferred outcomes. And when they had a majority of leftist judges on the U.S. Supreme Court, they were perfectly happy to say that this is super precedent. We have to abide by the court's opinion in all of this. When even the Bostock decision, which read in sexual orientation and gender identity to the Civil Rights Act, was the majority opinion. They were perfectly okay with that. But now when it comes down to the Supreme Court actually following the Constitution and returning the issue of abortion to the states, if that is ultimately their majority holding in this case, now all of a sudden we have to pack the court. We have to overturn this. We can't listen to the Supreme Court. And so we have to remember the Democrats never want to play by the rules. They always just want their preferred outcomes. And that's why they are fundamentally anti-American and anti-constitutionalist. And
you know who looks complicit in all of this is mainstream media. I want to point this out to our viewers and get your reaction. Don't bring up the leak over on MSNBC either, Jenna. Let's listen to Mika Brzezinski's reaction to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who says he wants to find the source of the leak.
So I'm sorry, the old white guys, Mitch is going to tell us what the story of the day is. He's going to tell us what the story of the day is. That's rich, Mitch.
Yeah, because doesn't everyone know who's really telling you what to think? Jenna, you may know this. Just a few weeks ago, Mika attacked Trump and said that it was the media's job to control what people think. Let's listen to this clip.
He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
That is their job. So you must behave and listen.
Yeah, and it was hilarious to see that Joe Scarborough, the old white guy in the room, just sitting there like, I don't really know what to respond to this.
Well, they have to go home together.
Mika, right? That's really, yeah, that must be awkward. But let's not forget that that Mika, 7 old white guys actually were the majority on the Supreme Court when Roe versus Wade was handed down. So apparently it was okay in 1973 for the men to opine on abortion when it favored the left. But now suddenly men can't have opinions other than apparently now men can get pregnant. I mean, this is just so ridiculous that the left never has any standards. They just have their preferred outcomes. And they also want to control the narrative. So people like Mika Brzezinski, who are seeing the legacy media utterly fail, and so many people who want the truth, they want to be able to get information, not just propaganda, are going to so many non-traditional news outlets. This is why the Joe Rogan podcast has so many listeners, because people are tired of the Mika Brzezinskis of the world saying, we're going to tell you not only what to think, but how to think.
And they've woken up. I want to put one more thing before we let you go. Eric Swalwell tweeting that they're not going to stop at abortion. They're going to go after interracial marriages. Do you want to save that? Well, you should probably vote then. And, you know, he got mocked by his tweet because he was linked to a suspected Chinese spy, Fang Fang. So, you know, tying interracial marriage to abortion seems like a leap, and it seems like not the best choice of words for him.
Well, of course, and this is just overreacting hysteria from the left. And, they're saying that now all of a sudden there will be bloodshed in the streets because of this. I mean, they're forgetting about the actual bloodshed that is part and parcel to abortion. But what they're forgetting about this and just utterly ignoring is that this is rightly and constitutionally returning the issue back to the states who can create abortion restrictions under the U.S. Constitution. So it will become a 50-state issue fight. And that's what the left doesn't want. They want to be able to control all of the issues and all of the preferred outcomes from Washington. And the great thing that we have learned over the last, especially 4 years of President Trump's presidency and administration, and over the last year and a half, is how important state and local leaders matter and how important it is to return to state sovereignty and the notion of federalism, and to take the power out of Washington and give it back to the people where it belongs.
Constitutional law attorney Jenna Ellis, as always, great to have you in with us. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much.